Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you are watching another episode of Kickin' It. So tonight, I'm here with my co-host for the evening, of course, Mr. Isaiah Leong. How are you doing tonight, my man?
Ace, Callan, Chris, I'm doing well, man. I'm walking to a Safeway actually right now at 9 p.m. Pacific time because I felt the need to get a newspaper. So I made the trek all the way down here. Hopefully it's still open right now. Yes, it is. But yeah, I'm going shopping, doing a show, multitasking at its finest, man. I mean, life is good.
I didn't think anybody read the newspaper anymore. I thought that was
They
like
don't, but some reason the guy in Square 2 does. I don't know why.
I was going to say, I thought that was the fast.
Worth it.
Did you say $4?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. $4 for the newspaper.
Wow.
What's the newspaper again?
Not happening, man.
Inflation has even hit the newspaper industry. Good grief.
I know. $4 for a paper? That's crazy.
It is getting ridiculous. It's expensive here, too, just to get a paper.
And then, of course, welcome in, Callan. How are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing good, fellas. Good to see you. Long weekend of work, like first full weekend of games getting under, or just past, I should say, but nice to have a bit of downtime and to be on a couple of programs here on this Monday night. Good to see you.
All right. Crispy, how are you doing tonight, my crispy baconator?
Not bad. It's been a good weekend so far. Hopefully that continues.
So, Chris, did you happen to see that meme that was put in the group chat that we're like, hey, Crispy, it is your street because it said making bacon.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was us making bacon drive. I absolutely.
There you
go. And you know what's so funny about that is when I was in the car with my daughter's like, hey, Dad, do you think that there's a street named after? And she would say a name, and then she would say another name, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure there is. Like you can think of anything out there, and there's probably a street named after it somewhere.
Including, believe it or not, here in San Diego, there's a Callan Road where there used to be a military base off Torrey Pines Road in La Jolla near UC San Diego.
Is it spelled the same, though?
Spelled the same exact way. I have a picture of me from, like, 2019 of me standing in front of a sign pointing at it. Like, there you go.
That's awesome.
Maybe I should take my flag and plant it on Callan Road. How about that?
You can just be quiet and finish your shopping, sir. Or I kick you out of this stream.
So, Callan Road, that is funny. That is wait, Callan Drive. I'm sorry, Callan Drive.
No, yeah, it's Callan Road. No, it's
Okay.
Callan. It's Callan Road, and there's also a hotel here in San Diego spelled the same exact way. It's a historical building in the Gaslamp Quarter, and I believe a friend of mine also sent me a picture while he was up in LA, I believe. There's also another Callan hotel somewhere like near Chinatown, I think, in downtown LA. So apparently the name is growing and growing and growing, apparently, after 29 years, apparently, if not more.
That's interesting because I'll honestly tell you, I've never met anybody else with the name of Callan.
I've only met 2 other people in 29 years who have the same first name as me. Spelled differently, of course, but yeah, the name is extremely rare. So I've met 2 people, and I believe Drew Brees named one of his kids not after me, but same name, but spelled differently as well. So I think 3 people in 29 years.
Callan. Okay.
Yeah, that I know of for sure. So yes.
Huh. That's interesting to think of. And actually, an interesting fact though too is like I read the other day that people have at least 20 people in the world that look identical to them. So we have 20 doppelgangers out there somewhere. So
okay, where are you at? Let's go.
Yeah. So this is kind of on the fly. I was just thinking about this since we were talking about it. But have anybody here met somebody who looked just like them?
Man, not that I know of, honestly. Honestly, no. Other than just like that rare occurrence where I meet someone who has the same name as me, which so the first time I met someone that had the same name as me, we were in Phoenix, I believe. We were playing a travel baseball tournament, and like the timing of this cannot be any more like hysterical that we had, or that Arizona finally had rain for like the first time in like a year, and it came to the week that we were out there for this baseball tournament. So we went to this arcade place called GameWorks. I don't know if they're still around now, but they were a very big thing like in Arizona and parts of like the Rocky Mountain area. And so it was all of my teammates and my dad, who was our head coach. We all went out this particular evening. And I came back to get more money to go play games. And as soon as I had left, my dad kept hearing someone else yelling my name. And he's like looking around like, wait a second. So then this parent whose son comes running up to him wearing a Curtis Martin Jets jersey, nonetheless. How kind of ironic with their walk-off TD the night against the Bills. But his son comes up to him and same thing. And my dad's like, wait a minute, is your son's name the same as my son's name? So sure enough, we actually met. And then the cooler one, then this happened two basketball seasons ago. During my fourth season at the University of San Diego. So I was taking over for their online play-by-play commentary for the WCC network, and their first game of the year on the women's basketball side happened to be against the University of Hawaii. So as I'm walking into the gym to go to my broadcast position, which is on the opposite side of the scores table, I kept hearing like, yeah, let's go, Callan. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm here. But then like it becomes like a recurring trend, and so when I walk in, I'm walking by the side or the basket where Hawaii's warming up, and I'm like, how would they know who I am? Like I don't know anybody on the Rainbow Wahine. So I go sit down. I start prepping my game board. So my game board is basically like a spotting chart for football. It has everyone's name, their number, the phonetic pronunciation, their height, their grade, where they're from, and all that good stuff. So I keep looking at one particular player on Hawaii's team, and I'm like, well, it kind of looks like my name, but knowing my look, it's probably pronounced Kalen. It's what I've heard Colin or Kalen or different names, and almost in my near 30 years of being on this planet. So sure enough, about half an hour roughly until game time, the traveling communications director, SID for Hawaii, comes and was talking to me about names. And of course, with Hawaii, you probably get one or two natives who have like those really long Hawaiian native names. So then I'm like, okay, is number 11's name pronounced Callan? And he said, oh, yeah, yes, it is. Anything else you need? I'm like, sir, that's my name. And he's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I'm named after my mom, Callan. So Callan Spiller, she's from Seattle and was playing in this game for U of H. So here I am, my first game as the new voice of the Toreros on play-by-play, announcing a game with someone in the game with the same first name as me. It was like a very just such surreal moment of like, this just took me back in a time machine, like in the DeLorean. It literally like took me back in time to like, man, and here I used to announce fictional games of me being the star hero for the Padres or the Gulls or the Ducks. And now here I am calling a college game with someone who has the same first name as me. So, long story short, after the game concluded, our men's team had a game, but I wasn't announcing the men's game, so I stayed around. But I wanted to like actually meet the player who had the same first name as me. So I scoped her out. I kind of waited a bit, and she actually had some friends who played at USD on the football team who were at the game sitting behind me. So, she was talking to her friends, and I kind of came up and I said, I really hate to interrupt here, everyone, but your first name is Callan, right? And she said, yes. I'm like, well, hey, Callan, it's Callan McClurg. Nice to meet you. And she like, same thing, like, this is like never happened. Like I've never met anybody with the same first name as me. So we have a picture together somewhere saved on my phone or in my Google Drive, and we still talk. Her and I still exchange comment dialogue every so often. But I mean, it's so cool because I think Adam, we've talked several times on this program about like weirdest names you can give a child or whatever. But it's more of like when you have a unique name like mine, where it's not common like Adam or Chris or anyone, and mine's kind of not out there, but it's a name that's not big, but it is growing because I always share that like that text post meme of like, this is for all the kids who will never find their stuff on like souvenir shop merchandise, like the keychains or the t-shirts or the coffee mugs. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Again, Callan and I still talk, and stuff like that. But no, I mean, the thing about like maybe people looking like you, but I think it's more of like, how common is Adam's name or Chris's name, and my name just doesn't really stick that well. But yeah, I think that's the cool thing is like the name is getting out there a bit more, and things like that. But hey, the more the merrier, that's and actually real quick before I give Ace the floor back here, I actually because with me being in public address announcing, we actually have an open forum group on Facebook, and there's actually a colleague of mine in Connecticut who is a announcer, same first name as me, and he also happens to have the same last name as cousins of mine who live in Orange County, California, spelled the same exact way. So I don't know here, man, but it certainly, the Callens are coming out of the woodwork, and it really warms my heart to see it happen after almost 30 years. But Adam, back over to you.
All right. Well, that's great to hear that you're meeting people with the name of Callan. Me, I know a lot of people with the name of Adam because it's a common name. I know a lot of people with the name of Chris or Christopher or whatever because it's all those common names. So speaking of meeting people, I think what's interesting is like for I think it was like a couple months ago, I had a mailman and he was coming and he was dropping off mail, and when he comes up in the driveway, he's like, "Hey Adam, how's it going?" And I was like, "Hey man," and we start talking,
Right.
and that once you're past that part, you're like, "Dude, I can't ask you what your name is because now you're in the conversation." And so
Yes.
now you're like, "Well, I'm already in the conversation, so what do I do?" Like I'm stuck. I can't be like, "Dude, I don't know your name. Like what's your name?"
What was your name again? I do that a lot, sadly.
Right? Yeah, you're already past that mark.
Yeah.
So
And I don't mean to interrupt, but I mean, for me, it's hard to. I mean, it's not hard to remember names, but it is hard though, especially though, like once like October hits for me, and I'm beginning to go in between different teams and organizations now. It's almost like you have to like relearn, everybody's name almost in a way. So like, it'll be hockey season and then indoor soccer season, lacrosse season, while still trying to get on the same page with college, with everyone with the college I work at. But yeah, I do that a lot. Like, wait, what was your name again? What's your name again? I dread it, and I dread and hate having to do that. I feel your pain.
No, yeah, I completely get it because the job I do, like, I train all new hires that come here, and so ever since I've been there, I've trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they leave, and then I see them, and they go, "Hey, Adam, you trained me," and I'm like, I'm sure I did.
It's been so long.
I'm sure I did, but if you're telling me 8 years ago, then I probably did 8 years ago, but I have no idea.
Oh, jeez.
I have no idea who you are. I was like, dude, I've been doing this job I've been doing the training part for the curriculums and stuff I teach for like 8 years. So I'm like, dude, that's 8 years ago. I can't remember everybody I trained with.
Remember everybody's name from 8 years ago? What are you talking about?
I was like, that's crazy. But Crispy, have you been in that situation before? You run into somebody, you're like, he knows me, and I probably know him. I just don't know his name, and now I kind of feel like a jerk because this guy knows my name like right off the bat, and I don't know this.
Yeah, I ran into old classmates just out and about, and they're like, "Hey, remember me?" And in your brain you kind of stop and you're like, not maybe I don't know, but you kind of go like, yeah, I kind of remember, But then after they step away, you're like, I don't remember.
Wait,
Right.
who was
But
that
you
I was
don't want to
just talking
say
to again?
anything, but you're like, I
Yeah,
don't,
exactly,
yeah, it's
right?
like, I don't remember.
Yeah, and you run into like I think one of the weirdest ones that happened to me was it was probably like 7 years ago, and I was at the store, and this girl was like with her friend, and she came up, she's like, "Oh my God, Adam, how's it going?" And I was like, hi, and she was with her friend, and her friend's like, oh, who's this? And she was like, oh, I dated him in high school. And I'm like, what? Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, wait, you did? I don't even remember this. I was like, well, what? So you get in those situations where it's like, now I feel bad because obviously this girl's like I dated, and I don't even remember who the heck she is.
It was so long ago. I can barely remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Exactly, right? So Christy's saying I've ran into former high school classmates before, and I've gotten confused because I don't remember most of them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
Well,
feel. Yeah.
well, you run into some that you can look at that have not changed much at all. Like you
Right.
can you
That
can
I
look
agree
at,
with 100%.
yeah, and you're like, wow, you look the same like you did in high school. And then you run into some of them that they're like, oh, I'm so and so, and you're like, what? Really? Like you look nothing like you did in high school. Nothing like it.
It's funny. I haven't seen a lot of classmates, and I've been out of high school for 11 years now, so I haven't really seen a lot of like my like former teammates or even classmates. I mean, we've talked over the web, obviously, but either they've moved, they've gotten married, they've had kids, they've moved on, they and stuff like that. But we still talk every so often. But honestly, and this may be, you might laugh at this, but I think I've actually have seen more teachers in 11 years than I've seen
Yeah.
classmates. Honestly, I've seen one of my computer science teachers I had. Shout out to Corey Burgess over at Kearney High School, where I went 11 years ago, and I saw her a lot because her son Colin played hockey here locally, and he's now going to the University of Rhode Island. And I saw her and her husband watching him play during our COVID season in Irvine, up in Orange County. Ironically enough, at the same rink that we were playing our home games at. And then I've seen my 8th grade PE teacher Dennis Gildahaus quite often because he's a baseball coach here too. So I think I've seen more teachers than I've seen former classmates in 11 years since being out of school.
Yeah. um
Hmm.
I guess I don't really remember a lot of my teachers from high. Some of them I do, but
Yeah, exactly.
I think from where I'm from, it's for some reason the teachers around here they don't really last long, and they like leave to go to bigger cities or whatever, or they're always
Better
switching schools.
job, that
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
always switching schools or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot of them, but it's the ones that I liked in high school. I'm like, oh, this person was pretty cool, and I like them, so I recognize them. How about you, Crispy? You remember a lot of your teachers from high school?
I do, and some of them I'm not sure about. It kind of goes back to what we were talking earlier. It's like I feel like I remember, some teachers, but at times it doesn't ring a bell. But I have
Yeah.
seen teachers that have like made an impact or.
Yeah. Same.
Oh yeah, we all like in your life. We all kind of have that one teacher that kind of makes a difference in our life. That you can really look at that teacher and be like, hey, this person really shed light on it. Like this person really said, hey, you need to get your shit together. Like you're
Mhm.
you're pissing your life away, and it's like, got it.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, I'm really glad you brought that up because just thinking about that just got my gears turning about that, and I do it usually in like every May 7th, but usually and I have to thank two elementary school teachers, Denise Stewart and Carolyn Clark, who were the first two teachers who noticed that I was having a thing called hidden vision, which is a visual impairment of some type that I've had my whole life. And they also were the first two that found out or had me tested. And then I found that I was dyslexic when I was in elementary school. Without those two teachers, I would not have known any of that. And I know that, usually in May, I always, put out, that, hey, this, this was holding me back, believe it or not. Yes, I'm good at like masking when I'm happy, when I'm not doing my best. I can put on a smile and fake my way through the day. But yeah, and I know a lot of time, and I remember the first day I remember sharing it. It's like, I don't need people's sympathy. It's just something I have to go through with being dyslexic and having this, somewhat, small visual impairment that I have, and I don't need people's sympathy or whatever. It's like, you know what, though? Maybe I need to at least make it public and things. And the first thing I remember getting was from a friend of mine, Ben Wagner, who lives in St. Paul, Minnesota. He says, for you to be dyslexic and you have these problems, but for you to do what you do for a living, though, man, mad respect to you for doing this, with what you do. Again, being dyslexic is extremely difficult when, your job relies on you to read and know things and stuff of that caliber. And yeah, maybe I use it as a bit of a crutch, and things of that nature, or like I would like, just use it to like slide my way through school, or it got me into jobs. No, I mean, it is what it is. But, I really think, though, heavily about those two teachers and all the ones I had, though, throughout middle school and high school who like gave me the confidence, like, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, basically, and stuff like that. But I think without Denise and Carolyn, I don't think I would have really have known what I was really going through at that time, especially when you're that young, though, in elementary school, third, fourth grade, though, and then you find out that you're dyslexic and you have, a weird, visual impairment that, screws up your reading, and you can't go from the whiteboard to the paper and back without losing your place or what have you. So yeah, teachers are a blessing, and, I thank them all I thank them all humbly and dearly, and every year for what they do, for what they've done, not just for me, but for, for everybody out there.
Yeah, and so Jason chimes in. One of the big things he says is, that teachers are grossly underpaid, and that,
They are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're putting, we're basically giving them our children and saying teach, and yet the state wants them to teach. We want them to teach our kids, yet we don't always show that support by making sure that the teachers make enough.
Yeah, I agree. My gal pal used to be a music educator back in San Antonio, and she would, she's told me so many stories about, how, the education system, it's broken, all the stories of her, just like even substitute teaching and stuff like that. And just hearing those conditions, it's just like, throw them a bone for once, it's please.
Yeah. And, I remember this teacher from high school. There was two of them, and one of them, her name was Miss Larson. Great, absolutely great lady. Another one was Mr. Montiel, and I know that in high school, it was around my sophomore year. I got in with the wrong crowd, and I started skipping a lot of school. I didn't care. I really didn't care, and I was just skipping a lot. And so finally, Mr. Montiel, which coached football at the time too, was also a teacher of mine. He's like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm on the football team. Sports here are everything. The classroom isn't this or this or this. And he like sat me down and said, look, you are pissing your life away. Like you are an intelligent kid, and everything that you're basically pissing it away. And with you doing this, you can't do anything with your life because you're taking everything and you are throwing it away. And then Miss Larson was saying the same exact thing. Like, I did a lot of acting in high school also. I was a fellow thespian, and she was like, hey, you have a lot of talent in that, but yet you're throwing all that away just to hang out with the wrong crowd because you want to fit in with your friends and you want to do what they're doing. And
for the culture.
Yeah, and so that was kind of an eye opener there. But J Mac is saying, question for the panel. How much money does a teacher spend on their classroom every year? I don't know. Like that's
The amount of times I've heard about how much they pay out of their own pocket is infuriating, though. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I've heard
If
that
I
too.
if I had to make a guess, I mean, I'm sure it's thousands of dollars. I really am.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's thousands of dollars because I know there's certain things. Have you ever watched the show Freedom Riders? It's a movie.
Yeah, I love that
Mhm.
movie. I remember having to watch it when I was in school.
That movie is so inspirational. That movie is absolutely fantastic. It's a phenomenal movie,
Ooh.
and it really sheds light.
Okay, so if you're
Go
going to
ahead.
go that way, okay, so what is the more inspirational school movie released? Is it Freedom Riders or Stand and Deliver? Highlighting Jaime Escalante, who helped turn around all those kids at Garfield High School in East Los Angeles on the SATs.
Oh, that's Stand By Me.
No, I think it's called Stand and Deliver is what it's called, I
Oh
think.
no. Sorry, Lean on Me. I think
I
right.
forget the exact name, but I think from what I can recall, I think it was called Stand and Deliver, I believe.
What's that called? Oh shoot, I can't remember. So Jason's saying about 2,500, and they're allowed to write off 3,000 for taxes. And he's saying shout out to Ken Graber and James Fewer, of the two greatest teachers ever. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Why can't I remember what that movie is called?
Yeah. Google search, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah, who's the guy that starred in that movie?
Jaime Escalante.
300, not 3,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. 300. Yeah, my bad. Okay. Is it?
Yeah, the 1988 film Stand and Deliver is what it's called, about Jaime Escalante.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a different one then.
Yeah, because Jaime Escalante was best known for helping kids at Garfield High School in East Los Angeles pass the statewide SATs.
Yeah.
That's
Or,
right.
Calculus.
Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking of another one then. My bad. That's on me. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about.
But either way, Freedom Riders and Stand and Deliver are probably two of the best, like, motivational or inspirational, like, school-related films probably of all time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I could probably look at Isaiah though, and Isaiah probably has no idea what the heck we're talking about.
I've watched Freedom Riders before. What are you talking about? It's the
What
movie
is
with the.
Tell me, what is it?
It's the main character is a guy named Paul Revere. He's riding on a.
No.
No,
That's what it is, right?
Close.
no, it's not even close, dude. It's not even close, man.
The Freedom Riders, that's not even what we're talking. We're talking about a film, Isaiah, about kids in high school and their English class, not about Paul Revere and the British are coming.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
thinking
that's
of
right. That's what he says. The British are coming. That's
yeah,
right.
you're thinking-
The movie that we're talking about is not that.
I thought he said "Let Freedom Ring."
No.
Freedom Riders, dude. Freedom Riders. I don't know how you got that out of whatever. Oh my gosh.
Quick question for you guys.
No. How about we just get to Chrissy's comment here? So the actor that we were looking for, Adam, was Edward James Olmos, who played Jaime Escalante in Stand and Deliver. Oscar nomination for that film, too.
Okay. All right. And it could be the same movie that you're talking about. I'm just kind of thinking, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm going.
Stand and Deliver, yes.
And Jason saying not even close, and Tim saying a swing and a miss. That's like missing a baseball on a tee. It is.
I'm sure
Yeah,
Square 2 did that several times when he tried to play baseball when he was a kid.
Oh, I'm sure he probably
He's also
did.
the same kid who ran to third base and not to first when he would end up making contact with the ball too.
So since we're talking about movies, this was actually one of our topics here was about movies, and so it was, and it can be any genre. It doesn't matter. it was basically what is your top 5 movies?
Oof.
If you really had to be like, oh, I could watch that movie over and over and over and over and over again.
Damn.
You know, and yeah, you do get 5. So I'm almost afraid to do this, but Isaiah, give me your top 5.
All right. Let me know when it's over with.
All right. So it doesn't have to be in order, right? It can just be 5, but it doesn't have to be in order from 1 through 5.
It doesn't have to be in order; it just has to be 5.
All right. So I would say the first one that I would put is Pearl Harbor. I love that movie. You know, I'm a guy that loves romantic movies. I love it, you know, when the characters end up, you know, getting together and then meeting up, and then, you know, just great story overall with that movie. I know it. Hey, Callan, I see your face. I know that's not what the movie is about, but the subplot of it, Callan, the subplot of it makes it just so sweet and so enduring. And, you know, honestly, I cried when I was watching Pearl Harbor. I cried in the end when the guy died. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite movies. The second one, I know Adam might walk off the sit on me, but I gotta say it anyways. It's the Shaun the Sheep movie. That is one of the greatest movies in the history of American and British television and cinema history. It is an absolute classic, man. The fact that the sheep has to save their own farmer from, you know, the trauma of a head injury. I mean, it's like the animal saving the farmer. Normally, it's the farmer saving the animal, but this time it's opposite. So it's a great story. The third one on that list, ooh, I probably would have to go Kung Fu Panda 3. I mean, I thought that movie was a great movie. I loved all the characters involved in even the giant panda and the tiger, who I forgot the name of it, the little rat looking thingy, the master, I forget his name. I think his name is like Woofa or whatever his name is. But he looks pretty good. The fourth one, I'm on number 4, right, Chris Ace? I'm on 4 or 3.
So yeah,
4.
maybe
Okay.
3.
So, the Jackie Robinson movie. You know, like I'm a big baseball fan, and just to see that movie the story of Jackie from when he first, breaks into the minor leagues and then goes to the big leagues and all the racism that he had to endure. I mean, that was a great movie. And then last but not least,
What'd you say that was called?
the Jackie Robinson movie.
That's called 42.
But it's known as the Jackie Robinson movie, though. Nobody calls it 42.
Yes.
That's what it's called. It's called 42.
I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. I thought it was called the Jackie Robinson film or whatever, or Jackie Robinson. And then, last but not least, Toy Story. Toy Story 3. I cried after that movie. One of the most saddest movies I've ever watched in my life. I don't really cry when it comes to movies, but the ending of it just absolutely broke my heart. Seeing the Andy graduate and, you know, go off to high school or go off to college and, you know, leave the toys away. And that movie, when I finished watching that movie, you know, it was the end of my childhood. So I would say those are my top 5.
You do realize that you have our comment section is blowing up right now, Isaiah. Like, people are freaking out because of your weird movies that you're talking about. We have Christy talking about a cat on a hot tin roof, To Catch a Thief, Star Wars with The Empire Strikes Back, and then you have Tim Hendricks who's saying The Shawshank Redemption, Empire Strikes Back, Saving Private Ryan, Princess Bride, The Exam, and then Jason saying Major League, Hitch, The Breakup, Step Brothers, and Home Alone. And then Christy's finishing with The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and Jason saying The Princess Bride also. Tim's also saying, where is the sheep to help Isaiah with his head injury? And Christy's saying, Enter the Dragon. And Jason's like, which one? Jesus Christ. I think he's referring to 42. Yeah. And so, it's great. I'm so confused right now, Isaiah. I don't even. Those are not the movies that I thought you were going to go to. So
What were the movies that you thought I was gonna go to?
I don't know. I figured it was going to be anything but that. Freaking Shaun the Sheep. Are
Hey,
you
Shaun the
serious?
Sheep is my favorite TV show of all time, man.
And I want to
Amazing.
know. And I want to know what makes you think that Pearl Harbor was a romantic movie.
When it clearly
Um,
wasn't.
Well, of course, the original plot wasn't, but it's the subplot. You know, the guy, I forget his name. I think his name is Rainier or something like that. The
No.
army sailor. Or was he an army sailor? I feel like he was the Navy or something. I
No.
don't even know. But the army sailor meets up with one of the nurses.
They're
and
not in the Army, Isaiah. They're in the U.S. Navy.
That's what it is. And Jason is asking, what in the world is Shaun the Sheep? Like, you're talking about Shaun the Sheep. Most people don't even know what Shaun the Sheep is.
Shaun the Sheep is basically a 2.0 of Wallace and Gromit. That's what it is.
And Tim's saying the Army has no sailors. It doesn't.
It's the Navy,
Dude, I thought the
Isaiah.
army was the one with the boats. The boats and the
Pearl
submarines.
Harbor-
and the
What
tanks.
part does that say Army?
Good God.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
Your
Chris-
utter disrespect on this day, nonetheless, is beyond embarrassing.
All right. Crispy.
All right.
And Jason is even saying, what is Wallace and Gromit?
It's a British cartoons show with a guy made out of like clay and a dog made out of clay, and they go out and wash windows for people and do funny like antics and make funny machines.
Okay. So, Crispy, maybe you can clear this up a little bit here. What is your top 5 best, or I should say favorite movies?
We'll go Remember the Titans. Ace Ventura, any of them could work. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Dodgeball. We'll go. We'll go Forrest Gump.
Run, Forrest, run!
And then we'll go Rudy.
Nice.
Rudy. Okay. Rudy, I see you. All right. Kellen.
Okay, so my stipulation here is I cannot pick Star Wars or Marvel for this one. So I will do Miracle, D2 the Mighty Ducks for sure. Those two for sure. Then I will go with let's see. I'll go Ace Ventura as well, just because everyone in high school called me Jim Carrey for some reason, or a lot of my friends did because they couldn't get my name right in the first place. So Miracle, D2, Mighty Ducks, Ace Ventura. Trying to think. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And there was I had one on the top of my head, and I forgot what the last one was going to be. Hopefully, it'll come back to me. But okay, Miracle, D2, Miracle, D2, Ace Ventura, T2, Judgment Day, and boobily bee, bop, bop, bop. Jeez, I had it, and now I can't think of it all of a sudden now. Gosh. And again, I'm not picking Star Wars or Marvel for this batch of movies. You know what? I'll throw Talladega Nights in there with Will Ferrell and those guys.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Love it. And Tim is saying, Callan, you are looking for Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
So Chris, her honorable mention is A Fistful of Dollars.
Nice.
All right, so my 5 movies, this is actually pretty hard. Like if you
It is hard.
Think about it.
I think it's harder though when you add like, well, I'm not going to go down this one with like Star Wars, Marvel, or DC. Like that's why it took me so long to think of my 4 of my 5 up until like I need to throw one out there.
Right. So, like really thinking about this, I thought so my top 5. I have to go with Roadhouse is in there. I definitely love Roadhouse. It's an all-time classic. It's a great Roadhouse is definitely in there. We Are Marshall. That
great story. Yes,
love that movie. And anytime I can watch some kind of like nonfiction, like documentary-ish type movie,
story,
I love it. And I love horror movies, but I tried to stay away from that genre on this one. I did. I love them, but I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and stay away.
Okay, good man.
That section. So that one I chose not to go that route. So Roadhouse, We Are Marshall. This one I'm just like my stepbrother. Or I'm not like my stepbrother. I'm like my brother, and I went with Step Brothers.
Okay, there's
number
3.
3 because I love that movie. I think it's fantastic. Some people may really come at me and be like, "Are you serious?" But one of my all-time favorites is also Grease. I love Grease. That's
Hey, I like Travolta.
right. It's in my top 5.
John, God bless her soul.
Like I see it and I'm like, I gotta watch it. So right. This house is right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Can quote Step Brothers all day. Absolutely.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yeah. And the wife is sitting here saying, "I know every song to Grease." You're right. I do because last year at our talent show for work, I dressed up like Danny from Grease, and
hey, attaboy.
I performed Danny from Grease, so I know that one too. The 5th one to me was actually pretty hard, but I know overall it's kind of it's been a big one in our family for a long time, and that was actually Major League. So Major League is right there because it is.
I hate this bleeping song.
Great choice, Ace.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Major League Square 2?
What is Major League, Isaiah? And please don't mess this up.
It's a movie about baseball where you have 2 guys come from India to try to try out for a major league team, and they end up making it because they have a major arm.
That's the $1 Million Arm.
Major
That's
League
not Major League?
Major League is about the
Arm.
Cleveland Indians being sold. With your boy Charlie Sheen playing Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn.
How'd you mess that up?
Just read his headline. I don't know movies.
Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again.
You're right. He doesn't. You know what, Isaiah? Not even am I disappointed in that one. Not even is Callan disappointed. Not even is Crispy disappointed. But I guarantee you, my brother is disappointed about that. That you can't even mention Major League.
I'm even disappointed.
And even my wife is disappointed that you don't know what Major League is.
What's that movie that I was saying about the
$1
2
Million
guys?
That's $1 Million Arm.
Oh God!
It's a good movie, but it's not Major League. Man, I figured you would at least know what that is.
No.
So
I've never watched it actually, to be honest. That movie at that point, like that movie.
even Jason saying it doesn't surprise me at this point. I guess he's right. I
I
mean,
know the difference between them. I'm even a woman.
I don't want to repeat that. That was like a bash to my Callan. You might have heard that one, right? What my wife just said. That's so
It will
bad.
not be repeated on these airwaves because we're better than Square 2's other network.
Right?
We don't tolerate that nonsense over here on Coast to Coast.
I'm like, what are you doing? All right. So so with that, look, Isaiah, your movie choices are your movie choices. I get it, but in the end, we don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know what to say about that. Like,
Just
So-
numb to this. I'm just numb to this point.
right? These things
I'm
that,
surprised I
that
haven't made Callan walk off the set, to be honest with you.
what?
I'm surprised I haven't made Callan walk off the set.
No, you already did when you began rattling off your films there, sir.
Oh yeah, because everybody knew it was gonna be some
did.
weird movies.
I'm shocked like the Teletubbies didn't make the cut, or Curious George made the cut, or Arthur, or
Curious George and Arthur were the 6th and the 7th choices, Callan. They were in my head. I was thinking about listing them.
Nathan, really wasn't movie choices. It was basically just whatever your favorite movies were. That's what it boiled down to, is your top 5 choices. So whatever your choices were is kind of what they are. So
and we know for a fact, Nate, they'll be better than Square 2, so you're good.
yeah, I think my young boys movies choices would probably be
I'm sure
better.
your pets would have better choices than Square 2.
I'm pretty sure they would. That's terrible. That's terrible. But that is the sad reality that it's the truth. And I really had to pick this topic because I like movies, and I know before we were talking about, entertainment hour and movies
Attaboy, Nate.
and I was like, boom. Oh my, are a bunch of MCU
Marvel and Star Wars. But see, Nate, I actually put the stipulation I could not pick any of the films for my top 5.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Like, yeah, mix it up for a little bit, or for once.
It does. And like I had the stipulation of no horror because
No horror movies, yeah.
So it's it is what if you put stipulations, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So speaking of television in general, we were talking about movies, and you see all these various commercials that people air on TV that they're willing to do, which I was sitting here and I was really thinking about this, and I was like, you know what? I did a bunch of acting in high school. I did some in college and things like that. But now I'm sitting here and I'm really thinking, what is the limit? Like, if somebody came to ask you to do a commercial, like, what's your limit to where you're like, yeah, man, I'm not doing that? Because you see people who talk about, oh, it's Pepto, and they talk about like diarrhea and things. I was like, are you comfortable with talking about that stuff? Like, if you had to do a commercial, would you be comfortable with doing that? Or like, what is your limit? And so, but really quick, Jason saying you should stipulate that you can mute Isaiah when he says stupid stuff, right?
I'm on it, Jason.
He's on it right there. All right. So what is your limit? Like, at what point would you say, yeah, I'm not doing that? So Isaiah, do you actually, I fear Isaiah probably has no limit on what he would do. But Isaiah, do you have a limit on commercials? Like, at what point would you say, yeah, I'm not doing that?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Limit. I mean, obviously, if they made me try like weird foods or whatever have you, like, I'd be willing to do it. I mean, in fact, I don't know if you guys can see.
I don't think that'll be in a commercial. We're talking like doing stuff for like Pepto-Bismol or erectile dysfunction.
Right? Yeah.
I'm eating French fries dipped in mocha right now, so because I don't have ketchup on me. So yeah, I mean, that's not even that.
You're
like
dipping fries in coffee.
Basically.
Yeah.
Two great combinations that go together. But I mean, I don't know. Like, it's really tough. Like, I would probably say like something like extremely disgusting, probably like something to do with the toilet or poop or whatever. Because like there's really nothing that you could like. There was really nothing you could do. Like you could make me do if you give me like a large sum of money. Like I don't. Like I would disgusting foods. Sign me up. You know. Yeah, I mean, I'd do anything, honestly. I like give me a large sum of money. Give me like $1 million or $5 million, and you got it.
Sorry, that was a funny
Sadly, it's NSFW to put on screen, but
right. So my brother's saying depends on how much money is actually involved too. So I'll go with that comment for right now. But
Right.
Callan, do you have a limit with commercials?
oh man, I need to regain my composure first.
Right.
Jeez,
And yes, J-Mac, I know what that is.
are we sure about that? I beg to differ there. Swear to.
You want me to give an analysis of it? Explain who
you know, goodness gracious. I feel like the limit might be now. I already struggle enough as is with I feel like I have IBS or some sort of like stomach dysfunction of some type in my stomach every day. Because I think I said on here a while back that I make sure that I have like Imodium or Gas-X or Pepto on me at all costs when I'm at work, because there's no time to like get up in the middle of the game and use the bathroom if I have to, if I have an emergency situation.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if there's really a limit to it. Now, I was in a commercial, but more of like a advertisement for the hockey season last year at a bar. We were shooting our promotional schedule release, and my boss knows that I'm a big Star Wars geek. So the email I get, because in my job title it says that I must perform all other duties assigned by the club. So I had to go to this bar in Old Town down the hill from my house, and and my boss, God bless his soul, knows that I'm a humongous Star Wars geek. So he says, all right, so Cal, you're going to be dressing up in the Chewbacca costume for the Star Wars night game advertisement. So sure enough, I'm in a shirt and jeans putting on this this heavy duty Chewbacca costume, sweating my what off and doing a couple of takes, and then putting the head on, taking it off, putting it back on. So there's not really much of a limit. And at this rate, I don't think there's a limit, honestly. Money would have to be involved, but even then we got paid to be like to be in the costumes and stuff like that. So, honestly, I think I'm okay with whatever it is. I don't think, I mean, that's not, it's a good question, but I don't know if there is a limit though, but I do think that most people would put a limit, on what they would do for a commercial. But at the same time, if they asked me to to put on a Chewbacca costume or a Stormtrooper costume and go and do a couple of commercial shoots for something, I mean, okay. So another one that I did was we were doing a disco night music video for a home game last season. So it was like whoever wants to show up, show up. So I was like, okay, we're talking disco. I don't really have like disco era clothing. So like, what could I do to be a part of the shoot? And my boss said, hey, how about I got an idea for you. Go as one of the village people. Go as the construction worker. So I literally was at the arena the night before the shoot. So I grabbed a safety vest and a hard hat, which ironically enough had, my jersey number 11 on it. So we were shooting in the rain in January at the Outdoor Symphony Theater in downtown San Diego. And literally there is there's a little like 10-second snippet of me, keeping everybody away from the, from the stage basically and whatnot. And then I'm like, nah, screw it. Let's go on stage and let's go boogie basically. So, it's part of, perform all other duties assigned by the club though. But I don't think there's really a limit. We got, like I said, I got compensated for the Chewbacca thing and for the disco night thing and stuff like that. But, I don't think there's really a limit. And Isaiah, Chewbacca is a Star Wars character.
Right. I'm right there with you though, Callan. There's probably not too much that I wouldn't do. I mean, when I was in acting, I kind of, you do what you got to do. That's really what it comes down to. Like if you're assigned a part, you do what you got to do. You audition for the part if you get the part.
Oh yeah, and especially too, because part of my other job duties is voice acting. That's what I also do at the same time, during the course of the hockey season too. So
You do
yeah,
what you got
I
to
mean,
do.
yeah, the same exact thing.
All right, so Crispy, do you have a limit on what you would do with commercials?
Not really, no. I mean, it's kind of like what you said. If you kind of have to do what you have to do, but probably a little bit of money's probably in it, but probably nothing else. No.
Yeah, makes sense. So Nate's saying that nothing surprises him anymore, and you're right. You're right. But we're almost at that limit. But I want to go back for just a second because we were talking about to where you're talking about the Stand and Deliver. I think the movie.
Yes, Stand and Deliver. Yes.
So I looked up the one I was talking about, and I figured out. And the movie is called Lean on Me. But what I got wrong was that I know you were mentioning about the SATs and everything.
Mhm.
The movie that I was talking about, it was a New Jersey superintendent that watches helplessly as East Side High becomes the lowest ranked school in the state.
Ooh.
And it's basically about a bunch of violence and like gangs are in the school and he's trying to get the school back up to where they can reach the test scores that they
Right.
need. And he ends up getting in trouble because he puts locks on the doors to not let the gangs in or let anybody good out to go out there and do bad stuff. So yeah, Lean on Me was the movie I was thinking about.
Yeah, and you know what? One more for my list of movies. Now that we've been talking about, like schools, Coach Carter, absolutely
Carter, yeah.
amazing story.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And so Christy's also saying depends on how much I would get paid.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
when I acted in high school, there was times I had to wear dresses and everything else because it was just part of it. It was
Yeah.
part of it.
I mean,
It was a part of it.
and before we cut out of here for the night, I remember vividly my junior year in English class. We all had to act out a part from Macbeth, for heaven's sakes. I'm just like, oh great, here we go. I'm a voice actor, not an actual actor like Mr. Barber is. And things
Right?
like that. It was yeah.
You
So-
acted in high school?
I did, dude. So probably what a lot of people don't know is that I actually had a scholarship for acting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I actually went to college because I had a scholarship for it. It is what it is. I enjoyed doing it. It was something that I enjoyed for a while. Thought I was gonna be some kind of actor when I got older, and I didn't pursue it. After college, I just decided not to pursue it, and I went into other things. And it is what it is. But at least I can say that I have experience with it, and I went to college.
And
for
no,
it.
Isaiah, Adam and Callan's college degrees are not overrated and they are not useless. Don't give me any of that
Well-
nonsense.
I was gonna say I acted in high school as
We're not saying anything.
You acted in high school. I can imagine what you acted in high school. Okay, so we're at that moment now to where we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show here. So Isaiah, for you, any final thoughts?
a great show. Sucks that I had to miss the majority of it due to stupid technical difficulties.
It doesn't suck. It was great. It was Kicking It with Ace and Crispy and Cal tonight. It was amazing.
Right, it was a great show. All
It was a
right,
great reprieve.
It was a good show. I'll give you that. But I mean, shout out to all of our viewers that were watching. I know we had a lot of comments on the program tonight. Christy, Nate, J Mac,
Tim
Tim as well. I think I might be forgetting others, but yeah, I mean, it was a great show. And Adam, I bought my newspaper. It cost me
No one cares about you buying the newspaper
All right,
because of a meaningless NFL victory.
All right, Callan, any final thoughts for you, sir?
No, thanks for everyone for tuning in again. Jason and Christy and Tim and Nate the Great tuning in, and more than anything else, I think we do have Four Bros coming up next, so we'll be sliding
Yep.
over to the program in a little bit here. And most importantly, let's not forget about this date 22 years ago. Never forget.
Never
That's
forget.
right. All
Quit
right,
nodding your heads or two.
and then Crispy, any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Four Bros is coming up, so stay tuned for that in just a few minutes.
All right. So I do want to thank everybody for watching. It's been another great show. And so you can see us next Monday for another episode of Kickin' It. And for that, everyone have a fantastic night. And I will see everybody tomorrow.